Hi, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Rosanna, and today my guest is Nickie Mendes, and she is a very dear and close friend who I've known for a very long time. I'd say almost 30 years, if I think that's just about right.
Pretty
And
accurate.
so Nickie is a mother of three, two wonderful children, and one guardian angel that watches everyone from up above. And I'm getting teary-eyed just saying that. She enjoys being a mother and also enjoys her career as vice president of administration for a financial company located in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Nickie has been in the financial industry for over 30 years and is honored to assist clients in achieving their financial goals. One of her passions among many is teaching, and Nickie has been teaching part-time with the Toronto Catholic School Board for 15 years and with Sheridan College for 7 years. And when Nickie is not working, teaching, or parenting, she enjoys spinning, knitting, reading, and writing. Welcome, Nickie. It's great to have you on today.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure and an honor to be here, Rosanna. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same way. So Nickie, you and I meet occasionally for breakfast, and at our last get together, we were talking about self-love and self-acceptance and sharing our stories with one another at that time. And I'm not sure if you remember, but I said to you, Nickie, this would be a great podcast episode that
I
I know
remember.
our audience would love. And because we hear a lot about self-love and self-acceptance and how important it is at any age. But I feel as we age, it seems to be more and more important. And I think, as we discuss the topic, we're going to get a sense as to why it's important and how one comes to the point of being in that place where, they can fully accept who they are, flaws and all, right? So, and keeping in mind that it's a journey and we're never there completely, but we're continually evolving. And so now, as we age, we face physical, emotional, and cognitive changes. And self-love and acceptance can really provide that strong foundation that we need to navigate all these changes with some grace and resilience. So, Nickie, can you start by just sharing with the audience when you realized that this was an important or this was important, and maybe you can talk a little bit about your journey with self-love and self-acceptance.
I think I started to realize the importance of it in my 30s. I didn't quite grasp really what it was,
Hmm.
simply because being raised in a European Italian family, expectations were high, and the idea of um, support was given differently. Um, my parents, as wonderful as they weren't the greatest at expressing love in the way Canadians, and I don't mean to generalize, but in the
Hmm.
Canadian format where they say I love you and they hug you and they kiss you. Um, I'll share a little story, and I think this will give you an idea. So in when we were young in
Hmm.
school, kids would share stories.
Yeah.
And I remember children saying, "Oh, I kiss my mom and dad goodnight every night." I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's cool." I don't. So I thought I'd try. I thought I would try. So I remember going to my parents and they were getting ready for bed. And I reached up to my mom and I said, I want to give you a hug and a kiss. She looked at me and she says, "Why? Am I dying?"
Wow.
So it was just not something commonly done in our household. So in
Hmm.
my 30s, after being married a few years and having my children, I definitely wanted a different approach.
Hmm.
And in loving them, it was acknowledging what I was lacking. And that was simply just that show of affection, show of emotion. I mean, your parents give it to you, but differently.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I approached it differently. So in my 30s, I think I started to realize that. When I hit 50, I guess I'm aging myself now, right?
That's
When I hit 50, that was a strong realization for me. It was my time. It was my time to take care of me, to accept me for who I am. As you
Mhm.
mentioned before, all the flaws, all the quirks, all the weirdnesses,
Yeah,
but all the good things, the character, the love, the care, the compassion that I have for people and family. And I was lacking it in me. 50 was a turning point.
right. So you realized it. Was it there anything that made you realize? Like you didn't just wake up one morning and, and decide.
Um, no, I didn't. It didn't come like a bolt of lightning. No, but I was getting tired. I
Mm.
was getting tired of the working and the cleaning and the cooking and the running around and
Right.
the dynamic of my immediate family. My husband worked shifts, so
Hmm.
I was pretty much mom, dad the most part of the day, which was totally great. And we made it work. We figured it out. It was all good.
Hmm.
Little, it was easy. You kind of pack them up, off to soccer, off to hockey, peanut butter sandwiches. We got to go do that. We made it work.
Hmm.
As they were getting older and I was getting older, their needs changed. And as I was working towards accommodating their needs,
Hmm.
loving and compassionate way and being everything I wanted to be as a mom. And I love mothering. I love being a mom.
Hmm.
I was gaining weight. I was not exercising. I was everything that I enjoyed doing, my spinning, my reading, all of that I put on hold. Not
Right.
wantingly to,
Hmm.
but it happened. So at 50, I'm looking at my kids and they're in their late teens, early 20s. They're good.
Hmm.
They're thriving. They got this. And
Right.
they
Yes.
say, well, we got this. I'm like, great. Well, if you got this, maybe I can go for that manicure and that pedicure, and maybe I can get back to spinning.
Hmm.
And things changed for me medically as well. So I was dealing with a couple of medical issues that pushed me even further to warrant and explore that self-love,
Right.
not just in a selfish way, but in a healthy way. My
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, my doctor said to me, and it rings so true, your children will watch what you do. They may not always listen to what you say.
Hmm.
She was an avid believer in exercise and health. Of course, she's a doctor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she would say, go to the gym. And when they were little, we did. I went to the gym. They came with me. It was
Hmm.
great. And
Hmm.
life happens. So at 50, I realized I did not want to be a 65-year-old walking with a cane and hunched over. And so I started taking care of myself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's, you said something about it's not selfish and it isn't selfish. So because when we take care of ourselves, it's almost like, we are setting good examples for our children, our friends, whoever. And we're also better equipped to have better relationships almost with them, right? I always,
Absolutely
yeah,
right.
I always use the analogy of, flight attendant when they do their whole spiel, about safety. And they say, put your mask on first before you attend to somebody else. Because if you attend to somebody else, you're not going to have, either like the chance or the time or anything else
The
to take
strength or the
care of yourself.
ability to take care of them. Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I,
so
I
we're
agree.
almost, better equipped to manage everything around us, including our relationships, our stressors. Like you said, you want to be able to at 65 or 70 walk without a cane and be mobile, agile. So it's really taking care of ourselves, our health wise. And it's not just about the pedicure and the manicure, right? There's other
Absolutely.
ways to have that self-love and self-care, self-acceptance, yeah, with
It
us.
was difficult. It was difficult for me. And one thing that I was recommended to me was an excellent book, and it's called Boundaries.
Hmm.
It was written by a couple of doctors. Their names escape me right now, but think. Um, do I have it here?
I might.
Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend.
Okay.
So that book was life altering for me
Mm,
because it allowed me to create boundaries that helped me take care of me, if that makes sense.
absolutely. Because we're so either conditioned or we're so used to saying yes to everybody else that we put ourselves on the back burner. And
Exactly.
so, um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very important, but it's so hard. So tell me, how did you do that?
So the book came recommended to me by a wonderful woman, and she still is. She was practicing. She's a nurse therapist. She's just a wonderful woman, friend, and
Hmm.
she recommended it. She understood my story through through chatting, like how you and
Yeah.
I talk. She understood, and she says, "I really need you to read this. I really think it's really good."
Hmm.
And I did, and I read it. And halfway through, I called her. I'm like, "This is crazy. I can't do this. There's no way, right? Like you're asking me to say no. You're asking me to say no to stuff. Like I just don't do
Right.
that." And she says, "My point." She says, "You need to start doing that now." Saying no, not in a negative or a rude way, but
Right.
acknowledging that unfortunately, right now, that's not working for me, and it's
Mhm.
okay to do that. And what she allowed me to feel and to understand was it's okay to say no.
Right.
One of my ex-employers who were friends today, in one of my reviews, and I couldn't understand it back then, he said
Mhm.
to me, he said, "I can put everything on your plate and I know it'll get done." I
Right.
said, "Okay, that's a bad thing?" And he says, "Yes, it is, because you never say no. That is your biggest flaw."
Hmm.
I didn't understand it then. It took about 20 years to understand it.
Wow. Yeah.
And it resonated. It really resonated. And I followed up with him on that conversation years later, and he
Hmm.
chuckled and he says, "See, yeah, never say." Again, it's not that you're being selfish. It's not that
No.
you're being resistant.
Yeah.
It's allowing yourself the ability to take care of you, which is very important.
Hmm.
Enables you to take care of everybody else in your environment,
That's
in your
right.
village, in your social circle, in your family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maintains a bit of a healthy mental, spiritual, psychological, emotional, and physical well-being,
Hmm.
which ties into aging gracefully. It's not just being okay with the gray hair.
Right. Yeah.
It's okay getting older and recognizing that I'm okay. I could do this. I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's building that resilience, yeah, of accepting
exactly. Exactly.
because it's not gonna, we have to accept what is real, what is there. Um, one of the reasons why I think, people and I am I still a yes person sometimes? And I still say yes a lot of the times when I do want to say no, because it's not easy and it is an ongoing growth that we have to go through. And sometimes, it's easy to say no, and other times it's not that easy. So, we have to kind of decide what we feel comfortable with. But a lot of the reasons that I used to say yes, I think at the beginning, when I was much younger as well, I was like you, let's just pile everything on Rosanna because we know it's going to get done.
Mhm.
Because I felt that, well, if I say no, they're not going to like me, or if I say no, I'm going to disappoint them. Meanwhile, I might be disappointing myself because I'm not being true to what I really want to do, right? And
100%.
so, we have to kind of take that into account as well
Mhm.
and accept the fact that, you know what, not everybody is going to like us all the time, and we have to be okay with that because everybody has an opinion. Um,
Mhm.
but we can't give all that power away in getting
That's
upset.
that is such a key word, is the power. and I'm going to call them guinea pigs. My first guinea pigs was my mom and
Hmm.
my siblings. And I remember she was asking me something, mom was asking me something, and I asked her, I said, "Is it an emergency?"
Hmm.
And she says, "Well, I want it done." I said, "Okay, but is it an emergency? Can it wait?" And her comment was, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Right now, I can't do that right now. I'll
Right.
do it, but I'll do it on this day."
Hmm.
And she just stopped. Like, she just didn't know how to respond. So
Right.
that was me practicing the boundaries. So I didn't say no, but at that
Mhm.
point, it was a no.
Right.
He couldn't digest it. And I'm going to use your word empowerment. It empowered me not to stand up to mom in a negative way, but
Hmm.
I'm 50 years old. If it's not an emergency, I'm not going to jump, mom. I love
Yeah.
you, but I'll do it in a minute, or I'll
Right.
do it in a day, or I'll do it in a couple of days. And I felt empowered. I felt like I got it back.
Hmm.
And again, trying with my sister, brother, you know, even friends,
Yeah.
even friends.
Hmm.
Sometimes trying to meet their schedules and get on top of, their itinerary and always being flexible.
Hmm.
It's okay. Unfortunately, I can't make it that day, but I've got these 2 days available.
It's negotiating, right? Yeah.
It's negotiating. It's that skill in negotiation, and
That's right.
we negotiate at work, we negotiate with public figures, but we don't always negotiate with our family,
Hmm.
where they're just as important as our work is.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And it felt really good to get that empowerment back
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
in a
And
weird way, in a weird way, in
yeah.
a weird way. And your friends and your family understand. So the no came with an explanation.
Hmm.
And that's what the boundaries book helped me
Hmm.
understand. You could say no, you're not being rude, you're not being mean, you're not being selfish. You're
Right.
saying no with an explanation. So
Yeah.
whether it's late or whether it's no, I'm not comfortable doing that, and you move on.
Hmm.
I realized your friends and your family, they that truly do understand and respect you as a person, they stick with you,
Right. Yeah.
and they get it. They get it.
And because it's not uncommon or unrealistic for them to be negotiated with, and it's almost that expectation, right? You're reevaluating their expectation as well, because yeah, and maybe it's us too, right? So if your mom, I don't know what she asked you to do, but did she expect you to just drop everything and do it, or was
Oh,
that
of
something
course,
that oh, she did, okay, because some
because
people,
that's what I always did.
right,
That's what
yeah,
we
so you
always did.
set that tone, yeah, you set that,
Yeah. And
yeah.
it helped me guide that same characteristic with my
Hmm.
kids. When you ask them to do something, if you need it done right away, you've got to communicate that with them.
That's right. Say it.
And
Yeah.
if they say, "Okay, mom, if it's an emergency, I'll come," and that's okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an evolving circle. Like it can snowball, but for me and my family, I believe it snowballed in a snowman and not a complete snowball effect that ran everybody over.
Right. Right.
The
But
analogy.
it's stating those expectations too, right? So,
Correct.
yeah, if you need something, you can say, I don't need it right now, but in the next day or so, right?
Exactly.
Because I remember when with my son, I would ask him, to do something, or I needed something, and he'd get all huffy and puffy and think he had to drop everything and do it. But I'd say, no, no, I don't need it now. Like, so I think it a lot has to do with our communication and our, stating those expectations and letting the other person know exactly, what we need and when we need it. Um,
Correct.
because a lot of the times too, you might, if you don't have those boundaries and you're just doing things, automatically because you don't want to say no, you're doing them with maybe an attitude or maybe not as enthusiastically, and it shows the other person, right?
It does. It
It
does.
does. So by
Yes.
setting those boundaries and by negotiating, you're actually doing things more in line with, your your attitude, or more in line with the joy of
The
doing
joy of doing
something.
it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
as opposed to doing it because you feel like you have to do it and you can't say no, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Without resentment, managing expectations,
Ex-
understanding and communicating, causing less
Right.
stress in your own life and your family's life,
Yes. Yeah.
causes less anxiety and ease the aging process.
Right.
Just ease it. It all ties in. It all ties in.
It
It's
does.
unfortunate that it took me that long to figure it out, but better late than never.
Well, and I think we were talking about this, right? If I knew then what I know now, it's that
Yeah.
type of thing where, you know what, I wish I had, yeah, I wish I had this knowledge. It would
Yep.
have made things so much easier, and yeah, I think I would,
100%.
with everything, right? With relationships with yourself, because we do have a relationship with
100%.
ourselves. Yeah.
100%.
Yes. Like I said, something that you just don't, at the snap of a finger, you can create. It's something that takes time. And,
Absolutely.
as you're going through the process, making sure that you're not hard on yourself because maybe you can't set those boundaries right away. You're going to need some practice, you're going to need some time, and you might have to start with something small, right?
Absolutely.
And then build on
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so just getting back on the self-love and the self-acceptance, thing that you said, and I can't remember now what it is, but it kind of triggered the thought that, I often hear people say, when they come to this realization, and it does happen. I don't know why. Like it sort of happens like after you turn 50. It's like, I don't care what I say anymore. I'm just gonna say it. And if people don't like it, I don't care.
I've
And
said that.
I don't care what people think about me. But that I don't care about what people think about me really hits home because it's like, no, I don't think that's true because we all care about what people say about us, how we're perceived by others. But I think the key is how we process those opinions.
Yes.
And, true self-love and true acceptance is really coming to the realization that everybody has opinions. We're not gonna, unfortunately, we're gonna get people who don't like us. We don't like everybody either. Like, let's
It's
get
okay.
real.
It's okay to agree to disagree. And
Right.
that's a very common statement in my house. And yes, with that comment of 50, I think my children are tired of hearing it when I respond in a way or respond with a response, an answer that
Hmm.
they're happy with. And I say to them, hey, I'm over 50. Now I've earned the right to my opinion. And if you don't like it, we can agree to disagree and move on.
Yeah.
First time I said that, they were struck, they were startled. They didn't know how to respond. And I could tell they were a bit upset and confused.
Right.
They kept hearing it maybe a couple more times, and then I thought, I better explain. It
Hmm.
was a different shift. Not that I didn't care about them or care about what they thought or what people thought.
Right.
I do, but as you mentioned, you process differently. You
Yeah.
don't let it affect you in a negative way. You see different personalities and different characters and different people for
Hmm.
who they are. And
Right.
everyone's different.
Yeah.
It's what makes the world go round. So I had to explain
Yeah.
to them, and I hope they understood. I think they do now.
Hmm.
Not that I don't care. Of course I care. But I don't have to agree with you, and you don't have to agree with me, and that's okay.
Right.
We
Yeah.
still respect each other. We're still courteous,
Mhm.
and they're grown adults.
Yeah.
Parenting adults is hard. They're
Yeah.
grown adults, and they're entitled to their opinion. It doesn't necessarily have to be mine.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
exactly, and that's okay. And it's about accepting their viewpoints.
yeah,
Just like we have viewpoints that they might not agree with, but they may they have to accept um, without, without giving up any of our own self-worth.
correct.
Because I think a lot of the times we do
Correct.
that. We'll agree with people or we'll get upset and we'll change because, oh, this person doesn't like me this way, so I'm going to change myself. But, you're not being authentic at that point,
Yeah. You
right?
mentioned earlier on in our chat I may not be quoting you exactly, but you know, you do things for people because you know maybe they won't like me. You want them to like you.
Hmm.
Absolutely, 100%. At 50, if I have 5 really great people in my world, aside from my family,
Hmm.
that I can count on, that I can call friends, that
Yeah.
I can cherish and they cherish me, I've won the lottery. You
Right.
don't
Yeah.
need the 20 or the 30. You don't need that. 5 is a lottery. 4 is a gem, a ruby.
Hmm.
3
Hmm.
is a gift. So my realization to that really happened at 50. I
Hmm.
tried so hard to be everything to everyone and no regrets. No
No. Yeah.
regrets. But I always fell on the back burner. And it was my husband that also helped with that realization
Hmm.
and very supportive, which I'm blessed. He's very supportive and being able to be myself and be okay with it
Yeah.
and accept what happens. You also tend to realize and deal with crises differently when
Except,
you
yes.
acknowledged that okay, this is what's happening. You're sure of yourself.
Hmm.
You're not in that panic mode all the time. Don't get
Right.
me wrong. I'm not perfect. It doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes, you know, you just freak out because you freak
Yeah.
out.
We're human,
It
right?
is what it is.
Yeah.
But it has helped calm me down in certain crisis situations where I was able to think properly and create my boundary so
Hmm.
I don't impose my stress and my infringement on the people around me. So that helped me.
Absolutely. And you know, again, it's that power thing. You're not giving your power away to all these people,
Yes,
let's face it, as we age, I think you're right. We tend to kind of get rid of that clutter, not
yes.
only, in terms of clothes and
Men,
but
mental clutter.
mental clutter.
Yeah.
And we value our friendship, the friendships that we have, where who we can trust, we can grow with, and who we don't have to please, who we can be authentic with
And age gracefully
and
with.
age gracefully with. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and accept things the way they are. And, I guess one of the things that I think we talked about at our breakfast, I can't remember, but, it's focusing on that positive. And, I always say, and, I teach as well at the colleges, and I always bring this positive attitude into any of my lessons that I can,
Fantastic.
because I think, or I feel that focusing on the positive, yeah, isn't going to guarantee that you're going to get everything you want, but it's going to make that journey a whole lot smoother. And,
100%.
that positive mindset or I think it will brighten your outlook, and, it'll
Absolutely.
open up so many possibilities. And
Rosanna,
so when I think of you, Nikki, I think, there's your definition of positive.
you've known me a long time and we've gone through a lot together. We've gone through
Yes.
a lot individually.
Yeah.
I think if we weren't positive, number one, I wouldn't be here today. Number two,
Hmm.
you're absolutely correct. Absolutely. It doesn't guarantee anything.
Mm-mm.
It just sheds a different light to things where, we'll have certain situations at work and the frustration is just completely over the top.
Hmm.
And I've had the opportunity because I'm empowering myself. I took it back just to say stop.
Yeah.
Stop with the negative, put that energy into something positive. There's the problem, we know the problem. We
Hmm.
have a resolution, focus on the resolution. So and I've said it many times, okay, now go to the bathroom, wash your face, get over it.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. Let's fix this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That comes with obviously years of experience and
Hmm.
but again, that empowerment and feeling strength in being able to be positive with people around you when
Yeah.
they're not in a positive frame of mind. Mind you, that puts a lot of stress on you and I if we're always positive in a negative type of environment.
Yeah.
but hopefully it sheds a little brighter light to people around.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, you know what, I'm going to continue to be positive because I think that it's contagious. And it's a mindset,
It is.
right? It takes the same amount of energy, I feel, to be negative than it does to be positive. So why not be
Less.
positive?
Oh, less. Being positive takes less energy. It's a
So
lot
there you
easier.
go.
It's a
It's a
lot
lot.
easier. It's a lot easier.
And
Oh,
it's a choice, right?
can I
It's
give
a
you an
choice.
example? Can I
Yeah,
give you
yeah,
an
of
example? Do
course.
you have time? So
Yeah.
we were on holidays a few weeks ago, and it was that week of the rain. We had tons of rain here. My
Hmm.
mom's basement flooded. She was hysterical, hysterical, absolutely hysterical, hysterical.
Yeah.
There was no way I can calm her down. My brother was there. My brother, no way I can calm her down. So eventually we got it all sorted. It all got sorted. It
Hmm.
all got sorted. So not 4 days later did I get water in my basement. So
Oh
my
no.
washing machine went.
Uh-huh.
There was water all over the basement. My
Oh
husband
no.
was out. I'm just grabbing towels. I didn't think to I turned it off, but I didn't think to put the bloody thing on, sorry, to put
That's
the thing
okay.
on spin and spin the water out. So I'm bailing. I'm
Oh.
bailing with the bucket and there's towels and my feet were soaked. I'm like nuts. And amazingly, I was frustrated, but I didn't freak out. And
Hmm.
I would have. Years ago, I would have freaked out.
Yeah.
So my husband, I hear him come in the door and I yell for him to come down. He's like, "What happened?" I said, "Oh, there's water all over the basement." I said, "I think the machine's gone." He's like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just in the middle of water. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
stop it out." No, he says, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." Well, no. I, why are you asking me? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
we have water
I
to.
don't understand. He says, "Well, you're not freaking out." I'm like,
Mm.
"Okay, but I will pretty soon if you don't help me drain these things. I can't drain the towels." That was a realization to him as well as me that
Mhm.
I could have been yelling and screaming. The water was still there.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't have gone out any sooner. I just had to take a minute, and then once he was there, my role, my support.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I said, okay. I just need to think. He says, okay. Well, you think. I'm going to go get the shop vac. I'm like, okay, good idea. I'm like, think. And it was just the comfort of him being there. I was like, spin. I think I could spin this into the laundry tub. So I stopped
Right.
wheeling. Sure
Yeah.
enough, that worked. So little things, but it was a huge realization for me.
But well, and it's you know you made a good point because you're in that panic mode.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you had continued to stay in that panic mode, you would have gotten swallowed, and I guess by the water too, right?
Water,
You would,
towels, and all.
yeah, you would have gotten swallowed by the problem as opposed to stepping back and finding a solution.
Exactly.
And so it's fine to panic because we all do that. I mean, but it's that stepping away, it's that not staying stuck. That's really, really important. And
It's
that's
a switch. It's a switch
yes,
that goes
yeah,
off,
yeah,
and that comes with practice and time and
it
being
does.
cognizant of it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you have to kind of face the problem and then move
Yeah.
on and find a solution. Yeah, but
Silly
that's
story, true story, but very effective. It was it was
so
an effective
effective. And I love, I can just picture Nelson saying, "Are you okay?" Like,
yeah, no, why are
what
you
pill did you
asking?
take?
It's like, well, you're not overreacting. I'm like, well, I will pretty soon because I'm running out of towels.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the things that we could do for to practice self-love and self-acceptance and like I said, we're never ever going to get there 100%. I mean, I'm much older than you are,
No, you're
and
not.
I'm
No, you're
still not, there because every day, we'll have situations, we'll,
not.
encounter challenges. But it's just knowing that, okay, this is triggering me, or I have to go to my toolbox and do A, B, and C, or just A, and we're all different. So my toolbox might be different from yours, might be different from our audiences. So as long as we have what we need personally, then we can get through it.
There's three things that I feel for me, and I can only speak for myself, that
Yeah,
has helped
yeah.
me in my journey to get to where I am today. The one thing that is huge, and people will give you a different opinions. They'll cringe, they'll smile. They're like, oh,
Hmm.
meditation.
Yeah.
I found I went through a few apps,
Hmm.
but I found one, and you're going to get a chuckle of this one. It's called Balanced.
Uh-huh.
The app is called Balanced.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I do it every morning religiously.
Hmm.
Um, and it's really helped me center myself. I do it in the morning before my day. It has helped me stay calm,
Hmm.
collected. It's helped me. It does tons of things with breathing to focusing, tons. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
That I do religiously. That has helped me a lot. And ironically, it's helped my husband. So he had something going on with his eye and weren't quite sure. And his ophthalmologist had recommended yoga. And I laughed.
Hmm.
I'm like, he's not going to do yoga. I'm like, you know him. What yoga? He's not going to do yoga. He says, well, okay, if you're not going to do yoga, meditate. I'm like, yeah, right. Meditate? Him? Meditate? He's like type A personalities. Go, 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 go.
Yeah.
So we came home that night and I said, why don't you try it? Why don't you just try it?
Hmm.
And it had made an enormous amount of difference, to the point where um, almost completely healed the
Wow.
situation
Yeah.
that medically he was dealing with.
Wow.
That to him was an eye opener, and it caused me to continue, and
Hmm.
supported each other with it. That was one. Meditation is key.
Hmm.
The second thing that I do is I belong to a mother's group.
Hmm.
It's a Catholic mothers group, and we do get together once a month. That helps strengthen me as a mom and as a person.
Hmm.
We're surrounded by positive people that have similar values and similar ideas,
Fantastic.
in
Yeah.
a good way, in a
Yeah.
positive way, to
Hmm.
reassure you that what you're doing is good. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're a wonderful group of ladies, and we that's helped me a lot to, again, center me
Yeah.
and remind me that I can't be to everybody if I'm not to myself.
Right. And I
Com-
think, correct me if I'm wrong, but that also, when you belong to community groups like that, you realize that it's not just me. I'm
no.
I'm not the only one who is feeling this way.
Yep.
It's very common. And then, you support each other. And that's how, that's part of your growth as well. Yeah,
Correct.
that's
Correct.
great.
For some, I've gone to therapy in the past. It's very, very useful, very helpful. Uh,
Hmm.
Again, the social group that introduced me, and that lovely woman that introduced me to the book of boundaries, and recognizing that those
Hmm.
are essential.
Yeah.
And the last thing I would say that helped me through my journey is being in positive environments,
Hmm.
having the strength to let go of the negative influences.
Right.
Recognizing is one, having the strength or empowerment. I love that word, Rosanna. The empowerment to
Hmm.
let that negativity go is life altering.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's life altering. It literally dissipates the knot in your stomach. It literally just
Hmm.
love
Hmm.
it.
And, so how do you do that though if you can't get away from that negative environment? What if you're living with people that are negative, or, you are working at a place where, because sometimes you
Can't
can't
change them. You
avoid it.
can't change them, but you can change yourself. And
Love it.
that's the key.
Yeah.
I've realized and recognized over the past, I would say, 25 years.
Hmm.
Can't change people. I can't change what they say, what they do, how they perceive me, how
Right.
they perceive the world, but I can change myself and how I interpret that. And it's amazing
Yeah.
when you realize the effect that your positivity has
Mhm.
on someone's negative outlook is phenomenal. And
Yeah.
it just sets that negative person, not a bad person,
Mhm.
but a
Yeah.
negative thought or a bad situation, once you bring the positivity, and it's happened a few times
Hmm.
where that just
Right.
comes right
Yeah.
down. So
Yeah.
it makes me feel good that I help that individual
Yeah.
calm down and just not get that all that anxiety and that stress. Stress is the worst. Stress is the worst thing medically,
Hmm.
emotionally, spiritually that anyone can go through. We'll
Absolutely.
go through it.
Yeah.
But if we can moderately tone it down or construct it in such a way that we turn it into something positive.
Hmm.
So the washing machine incident, yeah, it was a disaster back there. My
Yeah.
baseboard lift, it was a mess. It's like, the machine was 10 years old. Do we pay
Yeah. Yeah.
$500 to get it fixed? Do we get a new one? I got myself a nice new machine with a big tub and no agitator. That was my positive. That
Yeah.
was my positive. We, find the positive.
Right.
And you can't have people do that for you. You've got to do that yourself. And once you realize that you have to do it for your own self-worth,
Hmm.
you will find people that will help you. You will find resources that will
Yeah.
strengthen that. You will find the strength, the ability that helps you develop that,
Hmm.
but only if you want to.
That's right. Yeah.
If you don't want to, or if he or she, they, them don't want to,
It's not going to happen. It's a
no,
choice. Again, it's one of those choices that we have to make because, and it's difficult to get to
absolutely.
the realization that, hey, yeah, you know what? I can't control what's happening. I can't control this person's
That's the
thoughts or that
biggest.
person's thoughts, but I can control my own. Um,
That's the key, is
yeah,
realizing you can control your own thoughts, how you react,
yeah,
how you don't react.
yeah. Because then it becomes a battle, right? Well, if he or she or they, them are going to act this way, if I react the same way, then I'm only feeding that. I'm feeding that negative energy. And so it's like, I choose not to. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
You can do that respectfully, and
Mhm.
if you're surrounded by
Absolutely. Yeah,
that, have the strength to say, "I understand what you're going through. Right now, I don't think I can help you. So I'm just gonna step away and maybe we can talk another day."
absolutely.
And that's okay, and that's the boundary. You're not being rude, you're not being
Right.
insensitive. You're just saying, "We're kind of not getting anywhere. I'm not helping,
Yes.
and I'm stopping you from ruining me. So I'm just gonna get my 10 minutes and step away."
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna throw in there affirmation. So it's similar to meditation, but
Mhm.
affirmations on self-love and acceptance. And I'm a big fan of Louise Hay. She has a couple of books, or she has more than a couple of books out, but the ones that really resonated with me is How to Love Yourself and How to Love Your Body, just as you are. Yeah.
One
So wonderful resources. There are a ton out there. I will list some in the description for our audience.
awesome.
But again, it's whatever resonates with you. So if, a lot of people don't like meditation. I'm a big proponent of meditating. I think that some people think or that oh, I don't know how to meditate or I can't meditate, which to me, there's no right or wrong way. Anybody can meditate and you don't have to spend hours meditating. You can meditate for 5 minutes a day, and it'll make such a world of difference. And
I
we all
just
have our style,
Yeah,
we all have our style of doing things. And again, it all comes down to what helps me personally, what helps you personally, what helps our audience personally. So it's all, a matter of experimenting, seeing what's out there, and,
right.
just sticking to something that resonates with you.
And it's very contagious and positive. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
contagious and positive in a good way, in a great way.
Yes, absolutely. If you, the audience, have any questions or you want to share your own experiences with today's topic, or you want to, tell us about more resources that are out there, please leave a comment below because that's how we share our knowledge by spreading the word to everybody. And yeah, if you want to share your personal journey, please go ahead. I would love to hear that. Nickie, again, it was a pleasure. Um, and thank you to the audience for listening, for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more wellness content. And we'll see you next time on the Balanced Path. Bye, everybody. Bye, Nickie. Thanks
All
so
right, pleasure. Thank you. An honor being here. Thank you, Rosanna.
much.